my gosh. Alright. Quick live stream. Quick... What did I do to my stream? What did I do to my camera? Quick live stream. I just want to go over some of Shinobi's customs, because I'm not writing out a response. I just figured I would live stream my responses. So, for anyone who's tuning into the live stream or watching it in the future, you from the future who amaze me. So Shinobi, MysticMiniaturesForge, he's been on my live streams before. He's been posting pretty much daily customs, AotP customs into the Discord. So and every once in a while, I mean, like, I don't know. I try to respond to his customs daily, but I certainly don't have the time. But I give him, me and some of the other fellows give him a bunch of pointers on what we think he could do to either like better word his customs or better balance them. And so his recent theme for the slew of customs he just put out was Chandra. And I was just looking at this one, and I was like, you know what, I don't really want to write a whole response out for this. I'm just going to make a video, and I'm going to send him the video. I'm going to send him a link to this live stream. So he's going to see it. It's going to be a good time. But, so he made, like, a bunch of custom Chandra Planeswalkers. This one being a blue Chandra, apparently, if she was possessed by water instead of fire. So, Shinobi, this is what you're getting, dude. If you wanna hear my thoughts on these customs, you're gonna have to watch the rest of this video. I'm just gonna start with this one though. So we have a Chandra, the Hydromancer. Oh man, so we got a 5 life. All right. So like, the stats in this thing pretty decent, except for the life. The life is a life of 5 is kind of bad, especially with 4 toughness. And 6 range is only like mediocre. It's like medium high, I guess, but not really. I kind of feel like this should be like a 6 or 7 life, especially because the cost. Speaking of the cost, on here, 365 is pretty expensive considering at least what the stats say here. And I've read most of the abilities already, but I kind of feel like a life of 6 feels like it's almost mandatory, if not 7. Although 7 is approaching, like, kind of tanky. But anyway, out of the abilities, so we got... I wonder, can I zoom this in? Oh, is that better? Yeah, that's better. Water manipulation. So this is something Shinobi tends to do. Is, like, his Planeswalkers, like, at the very start of the game, is just you roll a d6, and they get some number of counters. These are pretty cute. Of course, there's also a lot of wild variability when you can start with... yeah, so he says if you get a 1, you re-roll it. So you can start with either 2 of a counter or up to 6 of a counter, which I think is kind of wild in variability, but whatever, like, it's a thing. It's a dice game, right? So it can't hurt. Yeah, right, you get so many water tiles at the start of the game. You can place it on either the space that Chandra occupies or... Oh, it says instead of attacking. I don't think I caught that the first time. Ooh. Instead of attacking, you may remove a water tile and place it either on the space that she occupies or on an empty land space. If water would fit normally. Right, to be like, you can't put it on top of lava, etc. Okay. At first, I thought this ability was pretty good on my first skim through, but I didn't catch the whole instead of attacking phrase, which now I feel like this ability is much weaker, actually. Much weaker than at least I felt like it was pretty good at first glance, but now I'm like, wait a minute, you have to give up the attack to do it. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see, but on that note, now that I notice it, I feel like that's slightly weak. Well of Dreams, we're going to move on though. Remove a water tile from this army card from the game. Huh, okay. Exile the top card of your library. If it's a sorcery, you may play it and copy it up to 3 times. And I assume this is supposed to mean and play those copies. I don't know if that's like a... Shinobi, you'll have to decide that for me. I don't know if you play it and then copy it 3 times, does that also mean that each of those 3 copies are played? But my first thought when reading this was just like, this is utterly broken because, like, welcome to the fold. is like a really good blue sorcery. Royal Mage's Trick is a really good blue sorcery. So it's like if you get, especially if you just like exile either one of those two and like you basically play it 4 times total, it sounds like you're just instantly taking basically 8 move and attacks with squad figures with Welcome to the Fold. Royal Mage's Trick just means like you're probably stacking, I don't know, around 10 power onto one figure. That feels kind of nutty. That feels nutty. Well of Dreams feels like really swingy. And that, like, yeah, like if you exile a sorcery, I'm sorry, an enchantment, it's like then it does nothing and it feels kind of bad. Like that I can see as a clear downside. But compared to the payout of, yeah, like playing a sorcery basically 4 times, there's a lot of sorceries that, like Jace's Erasure, you play that 4 times, you've just deleted 8 cards from your opponent's library. You've just like, and you just invalidated their entire deck almost. This is really good, but like swingy. This is like Twin Flame swingy, where it's like, yeah, if you get unlucky, it's like gonna do nothing. You just got rid of one of your enchantments for nothing. Blue doesn't have a lot of good enchantments though, so arguably it's like this is better than not. Yeah, then there's so many good blue sorceries that it's like playing them 4 times is absolutely bonkers. I don't even know how you would change this. I don't feel like this is a very good mechanic. Like, maybe you play it and copy it once might be okay. No, why? Oh, I'm live streaming. I'm just talking about a custom real quick. It's 11:30. My wife just interrupted me on my rant. I could see this being like a once per turn. For where are we? Well of Dreams. If Well of Dreams are once per game, like if you make this a once per game, you know, remove a water tile, exile the top card. If it's sorcery, you can play it up to twice. Like basically, you can play it once and then copy it once, and then make it a once per game. I think it's a little bit less insane, but still kind of insane. But that's my suggestion for you, Shinobi. Soaking Wet. Target an opponent squad creature that is on a water space. That creature can't roll defense this turn. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty cute. That's pretty cute. I feel like the wording is a little odd, and I don't know entirely what you're going for here. I mean, it only targets a squad creature, and a squad creature that's on a water space, and I don't know how often this will actually, like, be useful, frankly. I mean, if I'm playing against this Chandra, I'm probably never moving my squad creatures onto water, given this ability. Like, I assume you mean to say, like, hey, once per turn, choose an opponent's squad creature that's on a water space. That, you know, and then that creature cannot roll defense for the rest of the turn, or yeah, something to that effect. It kind of feels like this needs like a once per turn phrase or something, or like, you know, or even something as simple as while Chandra the Hydromancer, is that what it is? Yeah, while Chandra the Hydromancer is attacking a squad creature that's on a water space, that creature cannot roll defense. Like, that might even be one way to do this. Altogether, that ability feels semi-weak, considering I don't think most people are putting their squad creatures on water anyway. Water Tunnel. Chandra the Hydromancer may move through water spaces without stopping movement. Yeah, okay. That's like Kiora. If she has a normal move on a water space, you may place her on a empty, same level water space within 5. Oh, okay. When she starts the water tunnel, she will not take LEAs. So this is right. This is like a copy of Swamp Tunnel from the Morrow Drudge. Okay. This is like, okay, this is like a fusion of Kiora plus Morrow Drudge, right? Swamp Tunnel. It's like Water Walking plus Swamp Tunnel. I don't know what I think of this. It's neat. I think it's good. I think this is pretty good. I don't think it's busted. I think it's cool for sure. The water tunnel, and like with like, if she ends her normal move on a water space, you may immediately place her on an empty same level water space. That seems pretty good. Like, especially because you don't take LEAs. That seems very blue. I like it. That seems like very in theme. And I don't think it's busted, but the more I sit here and think about it, is like, I don't think it's busted. I don't. That seems pretty cool. Not super useful, but like cool, and it's gonna. You could probably use it once per game, I'd imagine. That's just a guess. Alright, then we have Tidal Wave. Tidal Wave! Attack 6. Chandra can only use this ability while on a water space. Choose up to 4 spaces in a straight line from Chandra. All figures on or within 2 spaces of the chosen spaces are affected by this ability. Okay, hang on. I didn't read all this far. Like, I read up to about soaking wet. So, hang on. This is like my first time reading this. All huge figures. Oh, yeah, wait. I saw. Okay, yeah. All huge figures are not affected by this ability. That's kind of cool. As, like, thematically, to be like a huge guy, like, gets hit by a wave and he's just like, that was tiny. Like, that doesn't hurt. Okay, each figure rolls defense separately. So this is like super buff fire line, but with an attack of 6, which is even nuttier. Which this is steroids, dude. You may place each affected figure that receives 1 or more wounds. All right, that's damage, Shinobi. Come on, we don't use Virgin Heroescape terms like wounds on our AOTP cards. We use Chad terms like damage. All right, you may place each affected figure that receives 1 or more damage from this ability on an empty space up to 5 spaces. Oh my gosh! A figure moved by this ability never takes LVAs. Cannot be placed closer to Chandra. That's cool than its original. Use this once per game. Okay. Yeah, I'm glad this is a once per game thing, because this is crazy. This is crazy. And only Chandra needs to be on a water space, so that's, yeah. So 4 spaces and all spaces within those. Wait, so 4 spaces in a straight line. All figures on or within 2 spaces. Okay. Yeah, I guess you could say all figures on any. How do you say this? All figures on any spaces within 2 spaces of the chosen spaces. This is really odd to word, but my gut is you say all figures on any spaces within 2 spaces of the chosen spaces are affected. Oh my gosh. But yeah, this being an attack. All right, let's think about this. So I got Roll20 open, as I was trying to set up a new game, and then whatever. I just got distracted. ADHD took over. So if this, like, if I'm like whatever, I have to pick 4 spaces in a straight line, right? And I'm like on like a corner of the map. But like if I pick 4 spaces, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm affecting. Oh man, I just gotta. This is hilarious, this ability to me. Like, I'm gonna clone a Leyline Phantom a ton of times to be like, this is the entire area this ability is affecting. Let's try and lay this out, right? So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So these are the initial 4 spaces that you choose. Now we need to clone these for, alright. 1, 2, so it could affect those 2 spaces. 1. Oh wait, that's 1, 2. Okay, so that's 1, 2. Alright, I need to, how do I do this? I don't know how to do this. This is gonna be hard. Alright. So we got like this, right? So these are all the furthest affected spaces, right? From that topmost space. Right? 1, 2. No, I have to go 1 more. Oh my gosh, this is completely insane. This is completely insane. The sheer number of spaces this ability is going to affect is completely insane. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This is fun. Alright, if anyone's actually watching the stream, you're probably going to want to skip about 30 seconds ahead, because this is going to take me a while. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna like tint this like dark blue, so I know, like, hey, these are the original 4 spaces, right, that we chose. I'm tinting them different colors. I don't care though. Whatever, dude. Dark blue. Alright, so those are the original 4 spaces, right? And this is everything within 2 spaces. And we gotta go like backwards here a bit too. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And it would go behind. Like, so technically it would even go one space behind Chandra. That's insane. That's insane. This is completely insane. Alright, do I finally got it right? 1, 2. No, I don't. We're going off into the invisible land, but let's pretend like there's spaces over there, right? Is this everything? 1, 2. 1, 2. So this is, yeah. This is affecting how many spaces? This is crazy. Everything that's engaged with her gets killed. Well, affected. Which is kind of nutty. But, and then just like the sheer number of spaces. Like, holy crap. This is crazy. Like, I don't even think I need to see the attack value, like that you're rolling 6, that you could push figures up to 5 spaces. I don't need to see any of that. The fact that you can affect this many spaces with one attack is crazy by itself, even if it is once per game. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So I can move this kind of like anywhere, right? To be like, if there was a water space. Now, the big question is, right, Chandra has to be on a water space for this, but like, I'm almost covering a quarter of this map, right? This is a relatively small map, but this is insane. This is completely insane. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? This effectively has a range of 6, considering how far up it's going. Yeah, an attack of 6 on this many spaces, on like this gigantic of an AoE. Like, and when you think of Mimring, where it's just like it chooses 8 in a straight line, and just it's a straight, you know, single row of hexes with an attack of 4. This is HeroScape we're talking about, and not AOTP. But like, are there any like AOE effects like this in AOTP? Like Soren kind of is an AOE effect in that like he can kill everybody around him. There's not really any other AOE effects. Yeah, this is like a lot of new ground for AOTP, and this is crazy. This affects way too many spaces, does way too much potential damage, I guess. Attack of 6. And if you get damage, yeah, all huge figures are not affected. It's like, if you're not running the Eldrazi Ruiner, you're just completely fucked by this ability. You may place each figure that receives 1 or more damage on an empty space within 5 spaces. Oh, okay, up to. Oh, so this is an interesting question. So it says you may place each on an empty space up to 5 spaces. So place, I get the impression that that means. Yeah, that means it's anything. Like, it's basically I give them flying, right? So like I could go up a mountain if I want to with this, because that's an empty space. That's placing within an empty space, or on an empty space within 5 spaces, right? That's how I place it. Like because it's not move. Place I usually take to mean teleport, but hard to know. But yeah, an empty space. Well, empty space up to 5 spaces. Yeah, okay. This is crazy. Within 5 spaces. Is 5 spaces the correct terminology here? I don't know if it's supposed to be 5 hexes. I have a feeling you mean to say 5 hexes. I should look it up. I would assume you'd probably want to use like something like what Nahiri says. I'd have to look that up, but I'm not gonna right now. Figure move by this ability, it never takes LEAs, it can never be placed. You're right, close to Chandra. Okay. Anyway, does it say? Yeah, so it says, alright, this is even crazier. Chandra and other creatures you control are not affected. Like, I can see Chandra not being affected by this, but for how stupid powerful this ability is and how, like, I feel like at minimum this should also hit your own army, because this is just nutty. I don't know what you should tweak about this Shinobi, but this needs to be toned down a lot. A lot. I feel like it does it. This is just an opinion because I haven't play tested it, but considering what I'm seeing here and what I'm thinking, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. I think once per game is a good limit, but this needs to be weaker even still. Anyway, I'm going on. I'm ranting. But, yeah, altogether, she seems pretty good. Really good. She's fragile. Like, her 5 life is about the only thing holding her back from instant destruction every game she enters. But I think she still does really good. I want to get into the next card as fast as I can, because I want to get to bed in the next 15 minutes, and I'm already ranting for way too long about the first one. We're going to open the next one. We got Chandra Flamecaller. Well, you like making your Chandras frail, don't you? I see another 5 life, 4 toughness, 6 move, 5 range. Okay, this is like the same as the original Chandra. Those are like the same stats, except 1 less life. Which again is like, okay, like, this is, without looking at her abilities, this is a pretty weak stat line. Original Chandra is like exactly the same though, other than 6 life. But again, I say the same thing about her. Like, her stat line, excluding her abilities, her stat line's pretty weak. But like the double attack, as well as like 3 power, yeah, like double attack makes up for that, clearly, right? But yeah, given this, like, this is pretty weak stat line. This is weaker than the original Chandra. Not that she's bad. I think she's a pretty average Planeswalker altogether. Abilities, though. Twin Flame. Oh, Twin Flame. Are you trying to give me PTSD with this? Roll 20-sided die. On 16 plus, put 2 3/1 elemental creature tokens. Huh, okay. Oh, with haste? Oh. So there's a lot missing here. There's a lot of assumptions here that I have to make. Is, yeah, like, I assume 3/1 means 3 power, 1 toughness. But when you say put 2 3/1 red elemental creatures, yeah, with haste, it's like, okay, I assume that you mean that by putting them on the battlefield. Is that the equivalent of me summoning them? Like, am I putting them within 5 clear sight spaces and to, like, it's almost like you could say summon, and that there's some precedent, or I mean, there's no precedent there, but I feel like it would make enough sense to be like, on a 16 plus, summon 2 elemental creature tokens with haste on the battlefield. So it makes it clear that it's like, okay, they're summoned, and therefore haste says when you summon these creatures, attack with them, right? So I kind of feel like, yeah, it's not well spelled out that, is this considered summoning, and therefore, like, is this haste triggering? Assuming this is the same haste as every other, well, the other 2 cards that Red has, which says when you summon them, they may attack. One of them may attack. This is a good idea, what you have going on here. Yeah, it's just a matter of, right, do you have some kind of separate army card, which explains these creature tokens, like what's their move, what's their range, what's their, I guess, life, their hit zones, like that kind of thing. But altogether, this is probably okay. 16 plus is kind of hard to hit. This could be a good ability. I'd have to playtest and see, but this is probably pretty decent. Oh, there's no trigger for this either. Now that I'm looking, there's no trigger. It just says roll 20 side die. Okay, when? Right, when? Should this, like, just put use this ability once per turn, activated ability, right? Or, you know, at the start of Chandra's turn, you know, to keep in line with. You don't want to put summoning at the end of your turn, or maybe you do, but I guess I would personally hate to see this say at the end of Chandra's turn, roll a 20-sided die, because then that means I can summon things with haste after I've moved, right? Which I think is personally pretty powerful. But yeah, you need a trigger for this, and maybe it is just once per turn or once per game or whatever. Actually, you know what? I take all that back. I wouldn't want this to be a once per turn, because that still means you can move and then use it. I think, again, my opinion here, I think you would want to say at the start of Chandra's turn, roll 20-sided die. On a 16 plus, you know, do all the rest of it. Then it's kind of like, okay, it's like, you know, right around the time when you would be summoning normally, but it's kind of like a weird special summon token thing. Let me move on, though. Double attack. Okay, so this says double attack, right. And so 3 power makes sense. To ashes. Discard all cards in your hand. Then draw that many, +1. Do this once per game. Oh boy. Shinobi, given the way you play AotP with like 30 plus cards, this is fine. Given the way the AotP rulebook says that you should play with 12 cards in your library, this is atrocious. This is atrocious. This is bad. You can't. I don't want to discard any number of cards unless there's going to be very few reasons I ever use this ability, which maybe is okay. But altogether, this is like a, if I had to give this on a scale of like 1 to 10, a 2 out of 10, like this is bad. Again, for official AOTP. Given the way you play, this is actually pretty decent, I think. Like, if you have 30 plus cards in your deck, it's like, I don't care if I have to discard 4 cards. Then I can pick up 5 new ones. The library is mostly, at least, you know, in official AOTP, it's a resource and not something to just be, to speed through as fast as you can. So again, you take my opinion with a grain of salt. If you don't care about the 12 card official standard for AOTP, this is probably fine. Again, like if you have 20 plus cards, this is okay, I think. Rain of Fire, Chandra the Flamecaller takes X wounds. Yo, we're using Virgin Heroescape terminology again. And deals, I like how he says, you take X wounds, but then he switches back to the Chad X damage terminology. To each squad creature within. Takes X wounds, huh? So what is X in this case? Like, how is X decided? Do I get to choose what X is? I'm not really sure what you do here. Like, you might want to say you may place any number of damage markers on, or you may place any number of damage on Chandra, and then deal that much damage to each squad creature within 5 clear sight spaces of Chandra, like something like that. And again, use this ability once per game. You need a trigger. You need a trigger for this. You also need some way to clarify, like, yeah, what do you mean by X here? Am I supposed to roll like a D6? Am I supposed to choose, like, me, myself? Yeah, because in that case, I think you'd want to be like, place as many damage markers as you want on Chandra, and then deal that much damage to each squad creature. Yeah, and again, some other trigger that says, do this once per game, or do this once per turn, or something like that. Altogether, I don't think this is very good though, considering her very poor life. Her life is 5, and to do this to damage squad creature, like, you're talking, like, this is like Harness a Storm bad, almost Harness a Storm bad. I don't foresee myself ever really damaging her at all to do this. Like, unless I'm like killing Flamewing Phoenixes, like my opponent's Flamewing Phoenixes, it's like, okay, dealing 1 damage to her to kill a bunch of 1 life squads might be okay. I'm not really seeing like a lot of synergy that I can think of from official AOTP, of course, here. So yeah, maybe I should start reading these abilities, but this kind of feels like another like 2 out of 10 ability. Like, I'm probably never using this. Again, mostly based on this only hits squad creatures. Like, if you made this where this deals damage to each creature, including heroes, I think it's slightly more usable, but still kind of bad. But like, if you buff her life to 7, which I think I would suggest, like maybe you go to 7 or even 8 life, and maybe drop her toughness to 3 at that. This is a little bit more usable. I don't know. I'm ranting. I'm gonna move on. You. Hopefully you get what I'm saying here. Let's move on. I got 2 more cards. I'm gonna try and get through these kind of quickly. Oh my gosh! It's another Chandra with 5 life in the same stat line. Oh my gosh! What's her cost? 330. Okay, that feels a little more in line, huh? Chandra, what is it? Novice. Okay, so she looks like, yeah, she's young. At the beginning of the game, roll D6. All right. Place X Fire Learning. Excuse me, X Fire Learning. Okay, Fire Form. Remove 2 Fire Learning from the starting card. Put A3 red. Okay, so this is like the other one, like the other D20 ability. Yeah, again, you might need a trigger, and with all, considering all the things I just said about the other Chandra, I feel like why not just say, at the start of Chandra's turn, you may remove 2 Fire Learning markers from this card. Sorry. And what was I saying? Oh yeah, so at the start of a turn, you may do this and summon, a token with haste. That doesn't feel too bad. Again, considering everything from the other card, the other ability, the D20 ability, it seems okay. Elemental Affinity. Remove 2 Fire Learning markers. Elemental creatures you control get +2 power until end of turn. That seems pretty good. I assume you've created a couple of customs that are elementals, because the only official thing that's an elemental are the Fire Cats, the Blazing Fire Cats. But that's pretty good. That's just like, hey, you want to give your Fire Cats fire breathing for 1 turn? Yeah, that's really good. This is pretty good ability. And if you can make like a whole army. Oh wait, speaking of elementals, duh, you got tokens. Yeah, Yeah, this feels like a pretty good ability. Like, so considering we have the fire cats, which are, I believe they're elemental cats. Now I'm testing my own knowledge because I don't remember. Hang on. AOTP. Now you're making me look this up. I'm pretty sure the fire cats are cat elementals or elemental cats or something to that effect. Yeah, elemental cats. So they're elementals. Okay. So yeah, this is basically fire breathing for the fire cats. That's the first thing I think of. It's like, oh, I didn't draw fire breathing? Or even better yet, oh, they have fire breathing and I can double stack it effectively? Seems pretty good. This seems pretty good. Elemental affinity. I like it. Is it broken? I think potentially. At a gut, I would prefer to see this drop to elemental creatures you control get +1 power, and I think that's pretty reasonable. +2 power is probably a little bit too good. Just my gut feeling. Anyway, moving on. Unyielding Flame. Remove 4 red fire learning markers. Okay. Chandra deals 2 damage to any target, up to 10 clear sight spaces. My goodness. Yeah, that doesn't feel that bad at all. That's quite... Because, I mean, yeah, you need to roll 2. Alright, so you can roll a 2 through 6. You need a 4, 5, or 6. And then you can also roll a 2 or 3. Yeah, so you... Like, the chances that... Alright, what am I thinking here? So, like, if you roll a 4 or a 5, and you want to use Unyielding Flame, you can't use either of the other 2 abilities that game, right? And or if you roll whatever, like if you so basically you roll 2, 3, 4, or 5. What am I thinking here? I'm jumping around. 4 or 5, you can only use Unyielding Flame and nothing else if you want to use the Unyielding Flame at all, right? On a 6, you can use Unyielding Flame 1 time and one of the other 2 abilities. But yeah, you get a 2 or 3, Unyielding Flame is waste. Like, this is a waste. If you roll a 2 or 3 on that D6 at the start of the game, that's It seems pretty good. I think the cost might be a bit too high, but altogether, like, to any target, like, if you get a Planeswalker with this, up to 10 sight spaces away, too, this is pretty flexible. It's just that, yeah, the limit is pretty tough on it. That, like, the four learning counters kind of just means that, like, you're, like, unless you roll a 6, you're giving up the other 2 abilities in order to try this, given you've at least rolled a 4 or 5 on Novice Pyromancer to begin with. So, I like it. I feel like, again, just without playtesting, I feel like you could pretty safely change this to 3, remove 3 fire learning counters from this card, and I don't really think it's too busted on that note. But altogether, this Chandra kind of feels like the most, maybe I'll call it balanced, or like the most, like, I feel like this is the one I would most likely want to play if I had to pick. As far as, maybe want to play / this feels like the most balanced out of the gate compared to the other ones. Like, this one feels kind of bad, I feel like. And I guess I didn't really say, but this Chandra altogether feels really bad. Hydromancer feels broken. This one feels like maybe slightly overpowered, but I think it's close to where it already needs to be. I think Elemental Affinity, you knock that down to just +1 power, and then change Unyielding Flame to say remove 3 learning markers, and I kind of feel like this is a good Planeswalker. Like, she's probably decent. 5 life, I feel like I'd like to see that bump to 6 as well. Because, yeah, 330, like, she's cheap, so it's like, yeah, she can't be that good, let's face it. But 5 life, I feel like she'll still die really fast. Let's move on. It's midnight. I should be getting to bed soon. We have the one final Chandra. I'm going to try and review as fast as I can now. Chandra Ablaze. Oh, she has... So she's got a buff. So she lost 1 move. She got 1 range. She got 1 life, and she got one power. Okay, pretty cool. She has double attack. That's really good with base 4 power. Okay, what's the cost on this lady? 365. Okay. Okay, I'm a little terrified right now. She seems really good. Double attack and 4 power is a lot. Without considering High Ground, Power Glyph, Chandra's Fury. No, that's pretty much it. But, like, it's kind of easy to get that to 5 or 6, and doing that twice per turn is going to get really scary, really fast. Alright, I'm consuming. Roll D20, roll 20-sided die. On 16 plus, each player discards their hand. That's... I don't know. There's no trigger, so again, maybe you say at the start of the turn, or maybe at the end of a turn, or maybe make this a once per game. You just roll the D20. And it's like if it fails, well then nothing happens, right? At a gut level, I don't think this is a problem. This is certainly game-changing, but for everybody, not just for you, right? Everyone discards their hand and draws 3 cards. That's pretty nutty. Yeah, I kind of feel like this should probably be a once per game, maybe a once per turn, but I don't know. This feels like much less concerning to me though, because it's everyone discarding their hand. So it's like, okay, it's like I'm discarding my hand, but maybe this favors red a little bit because red is typically like dumping all of their cards pretty quickly. You know, considering they're like trying to output damage as fast as possible. Hard to know. I would be interested in playtesting all consuming as written, although with like a either once per turn or like we need a trigger. We need a trigger, and like once the trigger is figured out, this sounds like an interesting ability to see how it's changing the game when it at least gets the 16 plus. Infernal Plunge. All right. Oh wait, Infernal Plunge. That's the spell. Infernal Surge. Roll 20-sided die. Let me zoom in. Roll 20-sided die. 16 plus, you may cast a red sorcery from your graveyard. Okay. If it would be sent to the graveyard, put it in exile instead. So, that's pretty neat. I have a feeling this is probably busted. Just because it kind of just turns into, oh, you know, that red sorcery you played 10 turns ago, you can play it again. And yeah, because again, my experience with AOTP, we have very little exile. I mean, there's no exile officially, and we only have so many exile effects, even like in our own custom set for the group that you know of course. Exile is kind of a non-factor for the most part, so it's like this kind of just turned into, oh, you can play a second sorcery, or you can play, you know, one of your red sorceries a second time, and you can continuously do it. Like you can continuously potentially do it. This also feels like this might be like a once per game thing. Like considering like Shitty Jace, like Shitty Jace having the one where it's like, oh, once per game you can name a card from the opponent's deck, and it's like if you get it right, you can play their spell. Like, I kind of view it akin to that. But this is, I don't know. Is it arguably harder or easier to trigger? I don't know. Shitty Jace is really hard to use. His search for answers, that's what it is, if you want to look up what I'm referring to. I kind of feel like this is probably okay if the trigger, or not even the trigger, but rather it's just a use this ability once per game. So it's like, you roll a 20-sided die, like, that's it. You roll it once, regardless of what it gets. If it fails, well, you're boned for the rest of the game. You're not getting Infernal Surge, right? I mean, it's going to make it a little bit swingy, probably, because, like, then on those games where you do get it, like, you get a double play of something like Twin Flame or Seize the Day, and that's, like, that's really good. But I think given that it's a 25% chance, it's like, okay, sure. So 1 out of 4 games you're going to get that. It's not very consistent. I don't really mind inconsistency like that. I don't think it's broken as long as you say this is a once per game. You just roll it. And it's like if you get a 2 on the D20, well then you're out of luck the rest of the game. You gave it your one shot. Those are my thoughts. Let's move on to the last ability here. Nova. After moving before attacking, you may roll a 20-sided die once for all adjacent figures. 16 or higher, those figures receive a wound. Okay. Okay, yeah. That's... I'm getting pinged on Discord. That feels like an ability I'm very rarely going to use. Because it's after I move in before I attack, right? So like that means, right, I have to move in. I have to move in to adjacent figures, right? I mean, she's semi-stout. 6 life, 4 toughness is okay, right? But... so this is kind of suffering from Harness the Storm syndrome, right? That like, okay, it's asking you to put your Planeswalker. I mean, this is worse than Harness the Storm in the way that it's saying you need to be adjacent to figures, right? So it's like, the fact that this can hit an adjacent Planeswalker is cool. That's cool. Totally fine. Alright, who's pinging me? Let me just check my Discord. Who's pinging me? It's Sri! Alright, I'll check Sri in a moment. I'm almost done with this. Okay. So yeah, so I like that this can hit adjacent figures, so it's like there's some motivation to try this on an opposing Planeswalker. But yeah, the problem is, right, the ones for all adjacent figures. Alright, so this is like Harness the Storm / how about Nahiri too? And I don't know if you've watched many of my videos or like seen how I play Nahiri, but if you ever notice when I'm using Nahiri, I don't use the D20 effect for Pass Through Stone, which is like, oh, you could deal damage to all of the creatures that are adjacent to you, right? It's like, I don't want to send Nahiri in adjacent to a ton of my opponent's figures just to try and get a 16 or higher to deal 1 damage. It's like, okay, suddenly, if she's surrounded by 3, 4, 5 figures, whatever, creatures, my opponent is going to wail on her on their own turn. It's like, you don't want to throw your Planeswalker out, to hang dry, to feed them to the wolves. Considering how inconsistent this is, I'm almost never, again, in my head, I'm almost never using this ability unless it's like me versus some kind of like range 1 figure, like a Planeswalker. It's like, okay, sure, like I can try and hit them in the head, for this plus my attack, my double attack, which is nutty. I'm already forgetting that is absolutely nutty, but it's like if I could run in and double attack, like use this and double attack just one single guy, and like there's not a lot of threat otherwise near me, this is good. Like it's just potential for free extra damage. But like if you're thinking like Chandra's gonna run in all gung ho and be like, oh, I'm gonna nuke the world, like, I'm gonna nuke 3, 4, 5 guys, in a small circle. I'm personally never doing that because you're gonna die. Like your Chandra's gonna die. You're gonna die in retaliation because you're throwing your Planeswalker, into the wolves. Your opponent is gonna, they're gonna feast. They're gonna feast on your ass because you fail this and then you fail to kill whoever else is next to you with double attack. You're just dead. Like, you're gonna get ganged up on the next turn and the coming turns, I suppose. So yeah, this is cool. Like, it's probably fine to keep here considering how overpowered double attack and 4 power are. But altogether, Nova's probably a low impact without like a lot of good luck, I guess. But I could see this being like, this is bait. This ability feels like bait that like newbies are gonna read this and be like, yeah, I'm gonna go in and fuck some people up, and most of the time you're just gonna get fucked up in return instead. But altogether, yeah, I think double attack and 4 power at 365, and like the 6 range too, I would say is arguably better than. So the 5 move and 6 range, I think, is personally like better than 6 move and 5 range, if that makes sense. I would prefer usually to have a higher range number, especially on a walker. Like, that means you can shoot from further away. Like, given the range buff that you've given her compared to like the other Chandras, I think who are 5. I didn't even realize this one's 4. I think this one was 5, and I think this one was, oh, this one's 6, but that's blue. But yeah, range 6 and a power of 4 and double attack. Like Shitty Jace himself only has these numbers, and he doesn't even have double attack. Like, this is kind of crazy. I kind of feel like at a gut, change this down to 3 power, or like add some condition to the double attack to be like, okay, she can attack 1 additional time, but you have to place a damage marker on her if you do that. Like, I don't know, like that feels kind of red to me, and isn't completely broken, because it's like, okay, you take advantage of her powerful 4 attack, but you also kill her at the same time. Make it optional, of course, because, yeah, if that was forced, that would feel bad. So it's potential, maybe, but I think my biggest concern with this is double attack with 4 power and 6 range. At the same cost as official Chandra, I kind of feel like this one is generally better than official Chandra. Infernal Surge also, like, feels kind of good. All-consuming is whatever, like, that feels neutral altogether to me. And Nova is kind of a meme, but just the double attack, 6 range, and 4 power kind of define her, in my eyes. That kind of defines her and makes her like something I really want to use as a planeswalker. Anyway, I gotta stop. I gotta stop streaming. I'm going on. I'm getting tired. It's after midnight. I hope you watch this, and if you enjoy it, whatever. If you like this format, I might do this more often on my nights where I don't have any other like super. I guess when I'm not streaming for anything else. Anyway, I gotta kill this stream. I'm out of here. Oh my goodness.